Have you ever wondered if the most beautiful parts of you are the ones you've been overlooking? In a world that often defines beauty by fleeting trends, it's easy to miss the extraordinary qualities that make you truly radiant. Today, we're uncovering 10 powerful signs of beauty that have nothing to do with age or appearance, qualities that reveal your unique brilliance. Stay with us, because the first sign will have you seeing yourself in a whole new light. 1. Kindness that shines. When I think of true beauty, I'm reminded of a woman I met during a trip to a small coastal town years ago. Her name was Marjorie, and she wasn't someone who would catch your eye in a crowd because of her appearance. But as we spoke, her warmth was undeniable. She had this way of making everyone around her feel seen and heard, whether it was the cashier at the corner store or a stranger like me. It was her kindness that made her beautiful. Kindness is an underrated sign of beauty, yet it's one of the most powerful. Have you ever noticed how good it feels when someone shows you genuine care? Maybe it's a neighbor who checks in during a storm, or a friend who listens without judgment. Those moments stick with us because kindness has a way of touching the heart. And here's the secret. Every time you do something kind, whether it's big or small, you're leaving that same mark on someone else. Think about the last time you went out of your way to help someone. Maybe it was offering a comforting word or holding the door for someone carrying heavy bags. Did you feel a quiet sense of fulfillment afterward? That's your beauty shining through. Kindness doesn't require grand gestures. It's often in the little things, a smile, a compliment, or even a moment of patience. If you're looking for a simple way to see your beauty in action, try this. For 1 week, consciously perform one act of kindness every day. By the end of the week, you'll not only feel lighter but also realize just how much your kindness adds to the world. 2. Confidence in your own skin. I remember the first time I walked into a room and didn't feel the need to apologize for simply being myself. It wasn't always like that. For years, I'd obsess over my appearance before leaving the house, tweaking my hair, adjusting my outfit, worrying if I looked good enough. But there came a moment, after a particularly exhausting day of trying to please everyone but myself, when I thought, enough? This is who I am, and that's more than enough. Confidence doesn't arrive in a neat package overnight. It grows slowly, like a seed you nurture with care. And let me tell you, it has nothing to do with being flawless. True confidence is about showing up as you are, flaws and all, and knowing you're still worthy. I've seen this kind of confidence in so many women over the years, like my friend Linda, who started a painting class at 65, even though she'd never held a brush before. I don't care if I'm bad at it, she told me. I just want to try. Watching her, I realized that confidence is about stepping into your own life without waiting for permission. If you're struggling to feel confident, try starting with small steps. Begin your day by standing in front of the mirror and stating one thing you appreciate about yourself. Maybe it's the way your laugh lights up a room, or how your hands have created meals for your family over the years. Write it down, say it out loud, and let it sink in. Confidence grows when we recognize our own worth. Here's another tip. Stop comparing yourself to others. Instead of looking at someone and thinking, I could never pull that off, ask yourself, what's something I admire about them that I also see in myself? You'll be surprised how much more confident you'll feel when you stop measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel. Confidence is contagious too. When you start owning who you are, you give others permission to do the same. So walk into that room, that meeting, or even your own kitchen with your head held high, because you, just as you are beautiful. 3. Wisdom gained through life. The other day, I came across an old photograph of myself in my 20s. My hair was different, my smile was unlined, and my eyes carried a certain naivety about the world. I chuckled as I thought, what would this younger version of me think about the woman I've become? Back then, I thought beauty was about appearances. Now, I know it's about something much deeper: wisdom. Wisdom is the quiet confidence that comes from lessons learned, often the hard way. It's in the advice you offer a friend, or the calm reassurance you give your child or grandchild when life feels uncertain. I remember one afternoon with my granddaughter, Lily, who was upset over a mistake she made at school. As I listened to her, I said, "Do you know how many mistakes I've made in my life? More than I can count. But each one taught me something important. Wisdom is a gift of experience, and it's one of the most beautiful things you can share. If you've ever helped someone see the bigger picture, offered a perspective that brought clarity, or simply reassured someone that they'd be okay, then you've shared your wisdom. That's not just beauty, it's a treasure. To connect with your wisdom, take a moment to reflect on a time you faced a challenge and what it taught you. Write it down, or share it with someone who could benefit from it. Wisdom doesn't fade with age, it grows. And with every lesson you share, you add light to the lives of those around you. 4. Resilience. That inspires. There's a framed photo on my bedside table that holds a story of resilience. It's from a few years ago, after a tough period in my life, when everything seemed to go wrong at once. I'd lost a dear friend, faced unexpected health issues, and felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. But one day, I woke up, tied my sneakers, and decided to take a long walk, not just for my body, but for my spirit. Resilience is what keeps you going when life throws its curveballs. It's in the decision to get up one more time, to try again, to keep moving forward even when the path feels uncertain. And that photo? It's from the day I climbed a hill during that walk, stood at the top and thought, I'm still here, and that's something to celebrate. Resilience isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving despite the challenges. I've seen it in my friends too. My neighbor Joan, for instance, reinvented herself after retiring by starting a community garden. I needed something to pour my energy into, she told me. That garden is now thriving, much like Joan herself. If you ever doubt your resilience, take a moment to think about what you've overcome. Maybe it was a difficult loss, a career shift, or a health scare. You're still standing, and that speaks volumes about your inner strength. To honor this resilience, write down one tough time you faced and what you learned from it. Then, remind yourself that if you could handle that, you can handle what comes next. 5. Nurturing love for others. There's a certain kind of beauty that shines when you give your heart to someone else. I see it every time I think about my mom. She had this remarkable ability to make everyone in her orbit feel special. Whether it was baking cookies for the neighbors or sitting with me for hours during my teenage heartbreaks, her love was a nurturing force that seemed endless. Now, as I reflect on my own life, I see glimpses of her in me. Last month, my best friend Susan called, feeling overwhelmed. Her voice cracked as she said, "I don't know how to juggle it all anymore." I didn't have all the answers, but I listened, offered her some tea, and told her, "You're doing better than you think." Nurturing love is a quiet kind of beauty, but it's one that leaves an indelible mark. It's in the meals you've cooked, the advice you've given, the hugs you've shared. It's in the way you've cared for your family, your friends, and even strangers who crossed your path. Think about the last time you made someone feel loved or cared for. Maybe it was as simple as sending a thoughtful message or surprising them with their favorite treat. These acts of love are like ripples in a pond, spreading warmth far beyond what you might imagine. To keep this ripple going, reach out to someone today, a friend, a neighbor, or even a family member, and let them know you're thinking of them. Your love is a gift, and it's one of the most beautiful things about you. 6. A grateful heart. I still remember a rainy afternoon a few years ago when everything seemed to go wrong. My plans were canceled, the power went out, and I felt completely out of sorts. Frustrated, I looked out the window, and there it was. A single bird perched on the branch of an oak tree, singing in the rain. It struck me then. Gratitude isn't about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about finding beauty and joy in what's already here. A grateful heart doesn't just see blessings, it multiplies them. Have you noticed how the smallest things can lift your spirits when you take a moment to appreciate them? Maybe it's the warmth of your morning coffee, the smile of a loved one, or the memory of a cherished moment. These little things, when acknowledged, grow into a feeling of abundance. One way I practice gratitude is by keeping a small journal. At the end of each day, I write down 3 things I'm thankful for. Some days, it's as simple as being thankful for a sunny morning or a good conversation with a friend. Other days, it's deeper, a moment of clarity or the strength to get through a challenge. This simple act has shifted how I see my life. I notice the beauty in places I once overlooked. If you've never tried this, I encourage you to start. You don't need anything fancy, just a piece of paper and a pen. By writing down even one thing you're thankful for each day, you'll find that gratitude becomes second nature. And with it comes a calm, quiet kind of beauty that radiates from within. 7. Pursuit of passions. When I was 62, I picked up a paintbrush for the first time in decades. My daughter had given me a set of watercolors, and for weeks they sat untouched on my desk. One day, feeling bold, I decided to give it a try. The result? A rather messy flower that didn't quite resemble the image in my mind, but I didn't care. I was hooked. That first attempt opened the door to a new passion that brought joy I hadn't felt in years. Pursuing a passion, no matter how small, adds color and vibrancy to life. It doesn't have to be anything grand. Maybe it's gardening, knitting, writing, or learning something new. The key is to choose something that makes you feel alive. Passion has a way of reminding us that we're still growing, still capable of discovering new parts of ourselves. I have a friend, Miriam, who took up bird watching at 68. She tells me it's not just about the birds. It's the peaceful hours spent outdoors and the quiet sense of wonder it brings her. Whether it's something you've always wanted to try or an old hobby you'd like to revisit, let your curiosity lead the way. To start, ask yourself this: what's one thing that makes you lose track of time? If nothing comes to mind, think about something you've always admired in others. Then, take a small step toward it. Sign up for a class, watch a tutorial, or simply carve out 15 minutes to explore. You'll be surprised by the beauty that unfolds when you follow your interests. 8. An open mind and curiosity. Last summer, I joined a book club that wasn't exactly my usual crowd. The members were younger, lively, and eager to debate everything from politics to pop culture. At first, I felt out of place. But as the weeks went on, I found myself captivated by their perspectives. They made me think differently, question my assumptions, and even change my mind on a few topics. It was a refreshing reminder of how curiosity keeps us young. An open mind isn't just about accepting new ideas. It's about staying curious about the world and the people around us. It's what keeps life interesting, no matter our age. Have you ever tried learning something completely outside your comfort zone? It could be a new language, a recipe, or even a different perspective on an old belief. My neighbor Clara is a perfect example of this. At 70, she decided to learn how to play the ukulele. She said she'd always admired musicians but never thought she could be one. Now she serenades us at backyard gatherings, laughing at her own mistakes but glowing with pride. Her curiosity opened the door to a joy she never expected. If you're looking for ways to cultivate curiosity, start small. Watch a documentary on a topic you know nothing about, strike up a conversation with someone who has a different background, or visit a place you've never been. Keep asking questions and give yourself permission to wonder. An open mind not only enriches your world, but also brings a sense of vitality that's truly beautiful. 9. Authenticity that radiates. A few years ago, I attended a reunion with some old friends. As I scanned the room, I couldn't help but notice how everyone seemed polished to perfection. Outfits carefully chosen, hair styled just right, and smiles that hinted at nerves. But then there was Eleanor. She strolled in wearing her favorite worn-in denim jacket, silver hair loosely tied back, and a pair of bright, mismatched earrings. She didn't try to be anyone other than herself, and you could feel her presence light up the room. Authenticity is magnetic. It's the kind of beauty that draws people in and makes them feel comfortable to be themselves. The truth is, it takes courage to live authentically, especially in a world that often pushes us to fit a mold. But when you do, you reclaim your power. Eleanor reminded me of that. She spent the evening sharing her adventures, some funny, some heartfelt, and by the end, everyone wanted to sit near her. For me, learning to live authentically came with age. I stopped worrying about keeping up with trends or saying the right thing and started focusing on what truly felt right for me. It's liberating to let go of perfection and embrace who you are, quirks and all. If you're not sure where to start, think about something that makes you feel truly yourself. Maybe it's a bold piece of jewelry, a book that inspires you, or a hobby that speaks to your soul. Bring more of that into your life. When you let your authenticity shine, you show others that being true to yourself is not just enough. It's beautiful. 10. The joy you share. One summer evening, I hosted a dinner for a group of friends. It was nothing fancy, just a simple meal on my back porch with the sound of crickets in the background. At some point, someone told a hilarious story, and we all burst into laughter. That moment, with everyone's faces lit up and tears streaming from laughter, is etched in my memory. It wasn't the food or the setting that made it special. It was the joy we shared. Joy is a beauty that transcends age. It's in the way your laughter fills a room, or how your excitement over a small victory lifts others' spirits. Have you ever noticed how infectious joy can be? When you're truly happy, it has a way of spreading to everyone around you. I've found that joy often comes from the simplest things. It's in dancing to your favorite song, baking cookies for a neighbor, or calling a friend just to hear their voice. One of my favorite rituals is starting the day with a cup of tea by the window, watching the world wake up. It's a small moment, but it fills me with gratitude and sets the tone for the day. If you want to bring more joy into your life, think about what makes you happiest. Is it spending time with loved ones, pursuing a hobby, or just being in nature? Make time for those things, even in small doses. And don't be afraid to share your joy. It's a gift that brightens not just your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. You've discovered the beauty that radiates from your kindness, wisdom, resilience, and joy. It's all within you. Remember, your story is uniquely yours, and it's worth celebrating every single day. Share your favorite takeaway below, connect with others, and subscribe for more uplifting content. Next time, we'll dive into even more ways to highlight your incredible radiance. Don't miss it.